Welcome to Follow Your Joy podcast, where intuition is the doorway to your wisdom, your genius, and your joy. I'm your host, Marla DeAnn, and I've been transforming creative entrepreneurs' lives for over 26 years. Through two businesses as a success coach and a business strategist, and prior to that, an entertainment publicist and a talent manager for 2 decades. It's time to make joy your inner GPS for life and business decisions rather than lean on your logic and reason first. You'll not only be following what is most authentic to you and for you, but you will live the beautiful life that's meant just for you. You'll come to learn that following your joy is a life and a business strategy. Listen in for inspiring entrepreneurial stories and solocasts that illuminate how by trusting your intuition, you'll create a fulfilling result. Want to learn how to access, trust, or up-level your intuition? Join me in the conversation to find out how. Okay. All right. Hey, hello, my friends. It's good to be back on another episode of Follow Your Joy. And, I'm grateful to bring you a local business owner from the South Bay, where I work and live, which is the beach cities of Manhattan Beach, Hermosa Beach, Redondo Beach, Palos Verdes. We're just south of El Segundo and LAX, International Airport. It's kind of like right there, right in the middle of which is why I love it here. 15 years later, it's like we're close to everything. We're like a 35-minute drive from everything, So very good. So our topic today, although it may not be categorized as sexy, but it's incredibly needed and a must if you're to be running a well-developed, efficient business as an entrepreneur. And that is business law. Meaning contracts, sole proprietorship, the difference between LLCs and S-corps, and which one's the best choice for you, depending on your business structure, trademarking, copyrights, right? All the vital details of our businesses. It's got to have structure. It has to have that protection. So as an appropriate introduction of my friend and colleague over 10 years, I have DeAnn Flores Chase. Do you like to go by your middle name, DeAnn Flores?
I use the full DeAnn Flores Chase for business.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. So as I said, DeAnn.
But it's not a middle. Flores is not a middle name. It's part of my last name.
Part of your last name. Okay. First time I found that out. So as I said, DeAnn Flores Chase, have her here in the studio with me. And, she is eager to share her background and wisdom, and I can't wait for you to hear about it. So she's been practicing law for over 25 years, and she founded South Bay Business Lawyers in 2007, and then she changed the name of her firm to Chase Law Group in 2015. She spent the first 10 years of her career defending small and medium-sized businesses, right, in very complex litigation matters in virtually every courthouse in Southern California. She advises entrepreneurs, business owners, and professionals on, of course, appropriate structure for their businesses, and in many cases, and I know this comes up a lot, at least in my coaching, advice on the process of moving from a sole proprietorship or a general partnership to a corporation or an LLC. All right, have you been thinking about that, everyone? So she specializes in the creation of comprehensive and customized legal structures and contracts, obviously, for appropriate protection. And, I'm going to just give you the top of this long list of accolades, and she's going to talk about a few in a few minutes, but her accolades definitely go far and wide, and that includes chair of the board of directors for the Manhattan Beach Chamber of Commerce. That was in 2012 to 2013. She served 3 terms as president of the Manhattan Beach Kiwanis Club, where she was, I like this, it's a good fact. She was the first female president since its inception in 1956. Okay, that's like major. She's also a frequent speaker for business and entrepreneurial associations, obviously on legal issues, and she achieved the Martindale-Hubbell AV preeminent peer, boy, that's a long one, peer review rating, which is a prestigious honor for the highest ethical standards and professional ability awarded to only approximately, get this, 10% of attorneys every year since 2016. That's like, to me, that's amazing. Yeah. She was named as Woman to Watch. I'm almost done. She was named as Woman to Watch by the Los Angeles Business Journal. And like I said, this is just the beginning. So officially and with my gratitude, welcome to Follow Your Joy podcast.
Hi, Marla. Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Yes, of course. And if you could see her, I mean, I do audio, everybody, as you know, I don't do video, which is one thing I want to make simple in my life. She looks beautiful. I should have done a video of this.
Well, thank you. I'm all ready.
She was like already in this beautiful kind of, I don't know, coral colored, top and her background. So I'm just giving you a visual. All right. Okay, so let's start with, why don't you share some of the highlights of your journey, and I'm going to throw in why law, right? Who inspired you, and how does photography fit into all this? Kind of weave us a little story, how did all this happen? Why?
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, so I was raised in a very blue collar household. My dad worked for General Motors and my mom drove a school bus. And then she after driving a school bus for a number of years, decided she was going to drive over the road tractor trailers. So she just figured one big vehicle to another. So, so I went to college. I was the first, person in my family to go to college. And my main skill set really was I was always a good writer. And so I followed, I always tell when I'm mentoring kids, I tell them, you follow, your passion, follow what you're good at. And so I was always a very strong writer. And so I went to UC Berkeley for my undergrad and I majored in rhetoric. And, it's very analytical, but a lot of writing. And so when I was finishing up at Berkeley, the next natural step was to go to law school based on the analytical writing skills and background that I had. And so I attended Southwestern Law School here in Southern California. And then I stepped out and I worked in, a big corporate law firm. And as you mentioned, I represented businesses that were being sued. So I was defending all different types of businesses that were being sued in virtually every courthouse in Southern California. But really, I in that experience, really seeing, boots on the ground in front of a jury, certain mistakes really that a lot of business owners would make, that when you're in front of a jury, you're not looking so good, right? And so that's kind of where I took my passion for helping people and my skill set in initially writing and sort of that analytical thought process into the courtroom. And I practiced, in court for over 10 years. before founding my law practice in 2007. And I founded the law practice really based on, on lifestyle. At that point in time, we had young kids. And I, like every entrepreneur myself, and working with entrepreneurs, is I wanted to be able to, have control of my time and to be able to focus on our family. And so, and as far as how photography all wraps into it, well, it's just a passion of mine that I like to take pictures. I like to take pictures of flowers actually a lot. I think flowers are beautiful with their different colors. And I use just my basic iPhone to take these photographs. And now that my kids are off in college and I'm, have a little more time to myself, I'm actually exploring learning how to paint the flowers that I take photos of.
Oh, nice. So we're talking, you're obviously, as a writer, that is an art. So there's more. And this is what I find, obviously, coaching creatives and being one myself, having my family, is that there's so many different avenues in which we are creative.
Yes.
And so I love that you are expanding on that part of you, right? So the visual arts of you, right? It's really terrific. Yay. I thought my audience obviously would appreciate that, because it's, when you initially meet an attorney, it's like you said, it's very analytical. It's all of that. But I know you, having known you for quite a while, I'm like, yeah, but she's also creative. She's got this.
It was being creative is something that really, it's taken me a little bit to get back to, really. But I think I didn't really realize that I use my creativity when I'm working with my clients.
Yeah.
Right. I'm not like your typical lawyer where it's very, where there's one way to everything. I think that when I'm working with my clients, I listen to kind of what their personal situations are. I always ask, no matter what the situation is legally, what do you want to happen? And then I help them to get there. And so realizing that the creativity has come into my skill set almost sometimes without me realizing it, because it's really thinking outside the box.
That's right.
Right. And realizing that there isn't always just one way to reach your desired outcome. Right.
Correct. Yeah. And that really speaks to what I emphasize a lot about creativity is not exclusive to the arts. It's very much a lot of levels. And in your case and many others, is that creativity is solution problem thinking. It's highly, are you kidding? It's highly creative. And so that's where that, what I'm hearing, that's where that kind of comes in for you, is that creative, out of the box thinking, solution oriented, etc. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Good. Terrific. Okay. So I'm going to swing back to that long list of accolades that you that you definitely have, well deserved over 25 years. Out of that list, and I know there's several that I did not mention, but what are your kind of maybe two favorite that you're really proud of?
So what I'd say one of the accolades or awards that I have received that really means a lot to me, that I'm very proud of, is I was honored as a woman of entrepreneurship by the Los Angeles Lakers and Comerica Bank. And I'm really proud of that award because it was something that I was nominated for, and I was selected from a long list of very highly established women. I'm proud of it because, sometimes you get these awards, and what some people don't realize is sometimes people pay to get these awards, right? And so I'm proud of this one because I was specifically nominated and chosen to receive the award. And it's something I'm very proud of, is my own entrepreneurial spirit and having that recognized. Yeah. So I'd say that's probably one of the awards that I'm really the most proud of.
Wonderful. Yeah. There's nothing like being all authentic as to why you won that. Because you're right, is that, and it's part of PR, right? It's part of the PR game, if you will. And having been in PR for so long, I understand the importance of, either, enrolling in whatever it is so that you can be one of the top whatever, right? That's a good thing. I mean, it's a good thing that those are options in the PR, angle, but when you can actually be nominated, right?
Yeah. And you had asked for the top two awards. And so the other one is that Martindale Hubble Award that you mentioned earlier, the preeminent rating as being amongst the top 10% of lawyers. And, similar to the award from the Lakers, is that Martindale Hubble Award was awarded after they do a peer review. So they actually reach out to other lawyers that I have worked with in my over 25 years of practice, and judges as well. And they have people who essentially vouch for you, who vouch for your integrity. And so I'm very proud of that award because it was peer reviewed. Again, it's not something that you pay to get. It's something that went through a peer review process where other lawyers that I have worked with over the years and judges, spoke on my behalf and vouched for my integrity, my ethics, and my professionalism, which are values that I hold a very, very high esteem. So that's something that I'm very proud of as well.
As you should. As you should. Okay, wonderful. So being that, this podcast is about following your joy, as in it's a life strategy. It's a work strategy, meaning, and you've referenced to this already, how important it is to listen to the joy. I mean, obviously the last thing we want for anyone is to be doing things that, are not enjoyable, especially when it comes to work. It's like, please follow your joy. That is a clue.
Yeah.
A clue to what you need to be doing more of. And again, especially at work. So what brings you the most joy in your work and business?
The joy that I have are really the people that I work with, my clients. And actually not only my clients, I do a lot of speaking to entrepreneurial groups. And the joy that I find is, I guess, I like to help other people. Right. And I've learned so much from, my over 25 years of practicing law. And like I said, I learned a lot. I see a lot of mistakes that business owners make. And also, more and more frequently, in the media and looking at these online services that are available to entrepreneurs, and the media says, you don't need a lawyer, you can do it yourself, all those sorts of things. And so where I find joy is when I'm talking to a business owner and I'm pointing out, the different mistakes that people make where they don't even realize it. And just to see the light bulb and see their eyes go, oh, I didn't know that. I didn't realize that. And so I think my joy is in really helping people to maybe protect them, sometimes almost from themselves.
For sure. I mean, and I would, suspect that, helping, these clients with, getting clear, right, from uncertainty and confusion and, fear about, how the law can impact their businesses. So is there obviously it needs to be anonymous, but is there I'm sure you have dozens of stories, but is there a short story that you can share with us that you brought joy to this person? All right. You really did what you're meant to be doing.
A lot of clients. I have one client in particular that I really enjoyed working with, and I've worked with him over a number of years. He is an entrepreneur, so he came out of corporate, and he came to me because he'd started making barbecue sauces and rubs. And and it had a golf theme to it.
Okay.
And so he came to me with sort of as a new entrepreneur with this idea of making these barbecue sauces and rubs. And so I really enjoyed working with him and have continued to work with him as a client over many years because we've done everything together from putting what's the best business structure together. So putting together an LLC, a limited liability company, and we worked with him to trademark the name of his company, the name of some of his products, his logo, different things like that. And then as he was starting to move forward, we helped him to negotiate contracts with his co-packers that were packing his products. And so, we helped him with that. And then it was just exciting when we saw when he put up his website and he had his product available to purchase. And then he was in, Lowe's and different places. And so it's been fun to work with him. And I think what I really love about him in particular is that he calls it the circle of life. He says he's very appreciative of the support that myself and my team have been able to give him. And what I've loved about working with him and many of other clients like him, like I always say, my clients are people who want to make sure that they're doing things the right way. Right. And I love to work with a client that doesn't hesitate to pick up the phone or send me an email when they have a question, rather than trying to figure it out on their own, where they can just kind of go down that rabbit hole of uncertainty, fear, and confusion.
Yeah.
And so I'd say that's probably, someone that I've worked with as an example, that where we've been with him through the whole life of his business and been there to support him and to see him grow.
I like that. That's a really good story. Yeah. Well, it's invaluable for sure. I mean, what you're able to contribute to a business, right? And that's a terrific example of that. Okay, so let's see. So given again that the show is about, following your joy and listening, this is the other part, listening to your intuition. I am big about, and okay, yes, because I'm a woman, but yes, it's the fact of life, man or woman, is that what I stand on is when we first listen to our intuition, ask it, opposed to first go to logic and practicality and linear for an answer, that you first go to intuition to ask for, if you will, direction, an answer of some sort, to then give you the direction for your practicality and your logic to then put feet on it, right? And put it into action. So how, share a story that you listen to your intuition, right? And it recreated obviously a fulfilling result, and you went, okay, I need to do that more. I need to listen to my intuition even more. So yeah, share, I'm sure, one of many stories where you actually did that and listen to your intuition.
I'd have to say listening to my intuition was actually what caused me to start my law firm in the first place.
Uh-huh.
Where number one, I was not finding joy in my practice because it came down at that point in time was really a lifestyle situation where I had young kids and I was in court a lot. And when you're in court, by definition, litigation is an adversarial confrontational process. Yeah. And so I was in, it was very adversarial and it was difficult mentally. Right. And so I'd always thought about starting my own business, but, as far as following my intuition, following my gut, I had more of a feeling that I wanted to do this, to start my own practice, but yet I had such fear around it. Right. And it was such a significant change from what I had, what I already had in place with the with the certainty and the structure of working. I worked in a big law firm, and of course the regular salary and all of that.
Mhm.
But I listened to mentors, and I, kind of got out of my own head about it
Good.
and talked with other people. And I had a mentor who told me, there's a big gap in our local community for a good business lawyer. And at the time, I didn't see myself as a business lawyer. And I said to her, I'm not a business lawyer, but she helped me to be able to see that, in fact, what I had already been doing for over 10 years, working with businesses, I was, in fact, in a position to be able to help business owners, on the front end of their business before they got to court, helping them to avoid or at least put themselves in the best position when and if they ended up in a courthouse. So it was a lot of following the feeling and kind of getting past or ignoring or pushing through the logic and all the, as soon as you come up with something that your heart wants to do, your mind is automatically saying, oh, you can't do that. And what about, this and, all these sorts of things. So it was really pushing through that, relying on friends and mentors and really getting the information that I needed to be able to kind of convince my brain that, yes, we will be fine. We start our own business,
Yeah, good. That's a terrific example, especially when you're saying, if you will, ignoring the logic, because what goes on in, the way that our brain operates, and I'm sure you've heard this, dozens of times, but for listeners, maybe this is new, and that is, our brain, thank God we have a brain, but it's a recording machine. It's not meant to be future focused. We need to train our brain how we want it to think. If we leave it unattended, guess what it does? Fear, worry, doubt, right? Past didn't work before. What about, right? It's like, it's all the fear and the worry and the doubt and the shame and all those things that keep us, right, paralyzed, like keep us, right? Is there, obviously there's great in having our brains to be able to do what you do, but when you're making decisions about life and about going forward and maybe taking risk, right, and taking a leap of faith and all of that, which is exactly what you were doing, you don't go to your brain for that.
Right.
Go to your intuition. And so good on you that you listened to that intuition, gathered enough, info to allow yourself to sit back is what I'm gathering, that you sat back and went, okay, so I'm going to feel my way through this. And then logic, you get to have a part in this, but later.
Right, exactly. Like, right? Actually, yeah, I mean, literally making that leap and, and getting an office space and, coming up with a name and putting, at the time I was very hyper local here in our local South Bay community. So I started the South Bay Business Lawyers, and it was exciting, but, and so I started to follow my love and my passion in doing that. And then now, after over 15 years of having my own law practice, now I went, like you mentioned earlier in my bio, I changed the name of the firm to Chase Law Group back in 2015 because, I really wanted to be able to help more businesses. And I wanted to expand kind of the scope of the people that I worked with, not only to our local community, which I love, it's wonderful.
Yeah.
But really, I'm helping clients now. I'm licensed in California. So really, helping clients throughout the state of California, but also I do speaking engagements across the United States, and I work with clients in other states as well, and really educating business owners, now nationally and in other states. And through my speaking, I've really been able to do that. So
good. Awesome. Yeah, and I know I've shared this with you before, is that on one of my handouts that I give my entrepreneurs, and it's typically the younger entrepreneurs. But if I see a need for it, I'll give it to those that are maybe changing something about their business after they've been in business several years. And that is, it's my jumpstart checklist, right? For getting a business going. And you, madam, are on that list. So yeah, I mean, I'm always obviously recommending you to clients and friends. So call that a good shout out, obviously, to you.
Thank you.
So yeah, no, absolutely. Listen to this gal. She knows what she's talking
Well,
about.
definitely. I mean, definitely anybody who is starting or growing a business needs legal counsel.
Yeah, you betcha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and entrepreneurs really do need to speak with an actual lawyer
Right.
about the legal issues. You can, I was talking to someone the other day who said that he had been doing research on Google on some of his employment. He had employment law questions. And then he and I were talking and he goes, and then I figured I just had to call you because I realized that I found 10 different answers to the same legal question.
Oh, interesting. By going on Google.
Yeah, by
Yeah.
doing research on Google. And so, yeah, of course you're going to do your research and get some basic information, but ultimately you need to speak with, and I say an actual lawyer who, who understands business to be able to help you to make the right decisions. Otherwise, some people end up, they're told that they don't need a lawyer, they can do it themselves, or they can just answer an online questionnaire and and download a template or what have you, and that can be very dangerous.
Yeah.
It's almost like a false sense of security.
Yeah, that is. That's a good point. Did you hear that, everybody? Okay. All right. So let's see. So based on, to kind of wrap this up, based on obviously your many years of experience, a few keywords of advice for the entrepreneurs listening, and they're all different levels, right? They've been in business quite a while. Some are, kind of at the 2, 3, 4, or 5 year mark. But yeah, what's a couple pieces of, sage advice you want to give?
Well, we just kind of referenced it, but know that if you're going to be serious about starting, growing, scaling, and even possibly exiting a successful business, then you need to speak to an actual lawyer.
Yeah.
Okay. And sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
And you need to not let fear, right? Or whether it's the fear of talking to a lawyer or the fear of the expense, right? Because a lot of entrepreneurs are like, well, I'm going to wait to talk to the lawyer until I need them or what have you. But really, I'd say you want to be more proactive about establishing the relationship really with a lawyer before you quote need one, right? Sometimes people say, I'm going to wait until I need one, and sometimes by then we can just provide you with so much guidance, right? So I'd say when you're developing your budget, I say budget for legal, right? And have a just have a significant budget for legal, more than just a do it yourself off the shelf kind of thing. And then that way, if you have that relationship with a good lawyer, that's not, we're not here to nickel, a lawyer's not going to nickel and dime you. That's there to be part of your team. Right. I'd recommend having a lawyer as part of your team is what I'm trying to say.
Right. Okay. Very good. Thank you for that. Okay. And so where can people get a hold of you, and what would you like to offer the listeners? Anything special? Yeah.
Well, I mentioned that I see a lot of mistakes that business owners make. And so resource. It's the top 5 legal mistakes business owners make. And if you text biz law, BIZLAW,
Okay.
to 26786, you can download the top 5 legal mistakes business owners make.
Right.
And part of that, just, full transparency, is you will be asked to provide your email address. And we don't spam or solicit. You can unsubscribe at any time. But also part of that is you get on our newsletter that we put out every month as part of our law practice that has really key information for business owners. And I'm very proud of that.
Wonderful. Okay, terrific. Let's see. And a complimentary consultation, is that something that's available, or?
I'm always happy to offer a complimentary consultation to anyone that mentions Marla's name.
There you go.
There you go. And of course, anybody who's interested would just, they can call our office. Our phone number is 310-545-7700. Or they could go to our website, which is chaselawmb for manhattanbeach.com. And just ask for a complimentary consultation.
Terrific. And I'll have all this in the show notes, everybody. So you'll have, you can just go right there for all that info, especially the one for texting. Okay. Well, DeAnn, as always, it was a pleasure being here with you. And I'm glad that I was able to bring you to my audience because it's so vital, to have somebody like you on their team, just like you said. So appreciate you being here, right? And I'll be seeing you around South Bay.
Thank you, Marla. I really appreciate it. I just appreciate the passion and joy that you bring to everything that you do. And I'm glad to have call you a friend for all these years, and happy to support you and your community.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. So, okay, everyone, as always, pay attention to what brings you joy, right? And what do I always say too is listen, right, to your intuition. Right. Start to learn if you're not there yet. If you're there, increase it even more. And that is give your intuition the opportunity, right, to give you direction that's meant for you. Because what I find is if we go to too many sources for answers, they may not be what's right for you. Right. So listen to that intuition, because it is literally meant for you and your evolution as a human being. Yeah. Okay. Until next episode, we will be talking to you soon. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye. Thanks for listening in. You can find more entrepreneurial stories and resources at marladianne.com. And while you're there, enjoy my 3 free downloads to up-level your business and your life. How about you take a screenshot of this episode and tag me on Instagram by sharing your highlights of what you learned today? I'd love to connect there with you. Until next episode, take care.